This short Bible study tidbit is presented by Mary Alta, a member of New Hope Community Church.
Paul told us that Jesus came to save sinners. But why did Jesus come according to his own words? Matthew 5:17 tells us this: "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them." Jesus was not bringing a rival system contrary to the law. He was bringing a true fulfillment which contrasted with the Pharisees' tradition. Only someone who could live without breaking the law in any way, who could live without sinning in any way, could atone for those who could not. That is what Jesus did, and he fulfilled the prophets' predictions of the Messiah and his kingdom. And in Matthew 9:13, Jesus said, "For I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." Pharisees thought they were righteous, yet they were not the focus of the ministry of Jesus. Rather, Jesus associated with those who could admit that they were not righteous, that they were sinners. In Matthew 10:34 and 35, Jesus gives another reason. "Do not suppose that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword." Jesus lets it be known that there would be a decision to make, a choice to make, and it would cause strife in families. The choice or decision was whether to follow Jesus or to follow the world, or Satan. In Matthew 20:26 through 28, we read this: "Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." It is here that he tells us what his death would accomplish. Mark 1 through 38 says, "Jesus replied, 'Let us go somewhere else to the nearby villages, so I can preach there also. That is why I have come.'" Jesus lets it be known that his message is not to be limited to one place. It is to be spread throughout the region and later the world. Mark 2:17 says, "On hearing this, Jesus said to them, 'It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners.'" Jesus is not addressing the matter of righteousness. He is saying he calls those who recognize that they are in need of a change of life and a change of heart. To liken it to what a doctor would do seems to indicate that the sick he refers to have a fatal illness that can be cured only by being willing to listen and to take to heart what he is teaching. Luke 5:32 tells us, "I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance." Here Jesus adds a more specific detail. He calls them to repentance, which must come first. Luke 12:49 through 51 says, "I have come to bring fire on the earth, and how I wish it were already kindled. But I have a baptism to undergo, and how distressed I am until it is completed. Do you think I came to bring peace on earth? No, I tell you, but division." Fire purifies and refines. A choice would have to be made what to do with Jesus, to follow him or to follow Satan. Those are the only two choices. And the decision does not bring peace, it brings division. The baptism he mentions indicates his death and resurrection. Luke 19:10 says, "For the Son of Man came to seek and to save what was lost." The account of Zacchaeus shows us what it means to be lost and then found. Zacchaeus himself recognized that he was lost. He put himself in a position where he could see and hear without being seen, but Jesus looked for him and found him. Zacchaeus was ready to be found. He was ready to hear and take to heart what Jesus was teaching and preaching. John 6:38 says, "For I have come down from heaven not to do my will, but to do the will of him who sent me." Jesus affirms that all he does and says is the will of his Father, that he is not acting on his own, but is simply doing the will of his Father. John 9:39 tells us this: Jesus said, "For judgment I have come into this world, so that the blind will see, and those who see will become blind." Jesus is not speaking of final judgment which will come at his second coming. He is referring to present-day judgment. Those who were blind through ignorance of the truth will come to see the truth, and those who see what they think is the truth but are in fact living according to lies will become blind to the truth. Jesus does not make them blind. They blind themselves by their unwillingness to believe the truth when they hear it. John 10:10 says, "I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." Jesus is contrasting the treatment doled out by Satan and himself. The thief, Satan, brings only destruction in one form or another, but Jesus brings life in full or abundance. John 12:27 says, "Now my heart is troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? No, it was for this very reason I came to this hour." Jesus admits that what is ahead of him is troubling him, that he would like for it not to have to happen. But at the same time, he willingly undergoes what is ahead because it was for that purpose that he was born into the world. John 12:46 and 47 says, "I have come into the world as a light, so that no one who believes in me should stay in darkness. As for the person who hears my words but does not keep them, I do not judge him. For I did not come to judge the world, but to save it." The world of Satan is darkness. The world of Jesus is light. To believe in him is to come out of the darkness into the light. Again, Jesus makes it plain that he is not at this time judging the world. He is saving it. John 18:37 says, "You are a king then," said Pilate. Jesus answered, "You are right in saying I am a king. In fact, for this reason I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me." Jesus admits to being born to be a king so as to testify to truth through his life and his words. You will no doubt find more reasons why Jesus came when you just keep reading. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Have a blessed day.